So just left the property and to confirm this, it does come with, let's have a look, you see this plot of land here, which has got the potential, obviously subject to planning permission, to have another property built right next to it. Again, I don't know how windy it is, but I'll just do a super quick video. So you could come out single story, could come out double story, you might as well do double. If you're going to go build into obviously the foundation with a single, you've done most of the work. It means then that could be an extremely big house, or it could be two separate dwellings, or you could just turn it into a HMO where it moves from a 2-bed terrace to probably a 6-bed terrace, because that would be 62 square metres, 120 square metres there or thereabouts. So you'd probably be looking at a 6-7 bed HMO there. On another side, we own a property on this street that we purchased about 3 months before the financial crash. So we purchased at the top of the market for 100, and this is where time tells. The property can be like a bad haircut, it does eventually grow out. It's now probably worth about 190 on this street because it's a 3-bed. The one behind me is up for 145. Needs 30 spending on it at least, but I think really you're buying it for this potential behind you really. So just got one other viewing later, so we'll see what happens there. Good luck. Let's have a look here. Here we go. This is the plot of land that's at the side of it, so we'll have to see what that's like around the back. So let's go through. Again, one into placing. This would be knocked through. Let's have a look there. Easy stuff, needs boxing in, but again we need to check that. Radiators, what else have we got here? Ceiling, simple stuff. Skeleton boards, electrics in the socket, internals. Let's go through here. Thank you very much. Kitchen needs to go, definitely. See what this is here as well. There's a couple of people doing this viewing. I think there's 3 people booked in. Let's have a look there. Is there another one? We'll see. I'll get into that later on. So from the looks of it, I'll probably end up cutting this video short here. But let's have a look. There you go. It does come with that land there. So probably quite a few people will be sniffing around this. Yeah. So let's have a look. Running up the line of that there. We need to go. There's a back wall looking. Get it all ground out and pointed. So again, there's quite a few bits where it's been shot where they've had that little thing. Obviously, at some point, a little bit of a porch, whatever it is. So seems alright so far in terms that it needs a lot of spending on it. Overflow dripping out on there. So let's have a look. Again, what I'll do is I will head on upstairs. It's starting to get busy now, and obviously people don't really like you having the video cameras and so on, so I'll give you a bit of feedback after. There's obviously needs a dress in there, ripping out. Floorboards have collapsed down there. Single sockets within the skirting board. Old school. What else have we got through here? Bathroom. It's pretty much everything needs to go, really. And based on what it's up for at the moment, obviously we're still in a rising market. Hindsight's an amazing thing, but this is up for 145. Yeah. It needs everything, which is good, but you'd be spending 30 on it to still only have it increased in value of 30. So I'll do a little bit more of a detailed video in the mobile office. So some super quick post of viewing analysis there. Like I said, it probably need about 30 spending on it, just because we like to do things old school, definitely immediately after the viewing. Just got a little bit of a refurb breakdown there and so on. You're going to be looking at the kitchen, approximately about 4,000, bathroom about 4,000, painting and decorating, all of it, probably 2,500, 3,000, rewire, 4,000, central heating, obviously the boiler was in one of the units in the kitchen, so that looked as old as That looks as old as Adam. That looks very old. The radiators again. The good thing about that property is, and those are the properties that we like, is that you just rip everything out and start again. That's not just a case of we'll paint this and we'll put a little bit of a kitchen, we'll just put a new kitchen worktop on and we'll get some new carpets in. That needed everything, which is fantastic. The people that were there as well, there were 3 other people, or 3 other sets of people. They all appeared to be, purchasing residential rather than, investors. So getting back to this carpentry again, then you'd be wanting new internal doors, new woodwork throughout, skirting boards, architraves, door casing, 2.5 upwards, plastering, about 3.5 based on that, probably even more because again, the ceilings weren't in the best condition. That garden rip out now, again, don't underestimate how much it costs to rip all of that stuff back. You can't just think, we'll just get one skip for £200 and pay somebody £100 a day, £100 and it'll be full. That'll take quite a lot of money that to empty just to bring it back. Chimney breast, probably leave those in for the sake of it. Windows and doors, you'd want a composite front door, about 1,000 there. Back door, probably a little bit less, 700 something. So altogether there, including the strip out, you're probably looking at about 34,000. Now, give yourself there based on the size of the property. Like I said, it's probably about 120 it's not 120 square meters, probably about 65 square meters. You want to be giving yourself about a 10% contingency within your budget, your refurb budget. So you're probably looking at about 36, 37, something like that. Now, it's up for 145, and like always, they've had lots of interest. So 145, 155, 165, 175, 180. So you 180 there, but that's not including your stamp duty of about 6. So that's 186. Legals, a couple of thousand, 188. So just think about it, 190 for, in effect, what is a 2-bed terrace. Okay, yes, of course, it'll look brand new and so on, but you might be able to refinance it. Like I said, we've got a property on this same street. It's obviously a better condition, slightly bigger because it's 3 proper bedrooms, the 3rd bedroom going into the attic, with a correct staircase, not a ladder drop down or anything like that. That's probably about 190 now, something. So you'd be then putting all that money in that property to try and bring it up to somewhere about 180. So you'd be leaving obviously a bit of money in, and it just all depends on your goals and so on. That for us would be something that we could turn around quite quick. You'd be wanting to do that refurb in about 10 weeks really, if everything's all streamlined and slick, but not at the price of 145, definitely not. You'd be wanting to get it at 125, to always give yourself some breathing room. Make sure that you obviously not cutting your nose off by paying too much, and obviously then the budget's suffering, and the refurb budget and your return on capital employed and your monthly cash flow. But, and this is the but now, the thing that appealed to us with that was with that plot of land at the side of it. So rather than just think of a traditional, 2-bed BRRR, it's got potential because, just looking at the picture now, there is scope there to build another property at the side of it. So you'd need to make sure you put in, obviously, planning permission and so on. You probably put in planning permission to extend that property with the same type of footprint and the same type of face at the front with 2 windows, and then once that got approved, you then try and change it or modify it to a separate dwelling if you wanted to. But with that, it's more the potential it's got really moving forward. So as a BRRR, those aren't the type of yields that we'd be wanting to do, wanting to achieve with that at that purchase price. But for a HMO and a little bit of a bigger build, the numbers could work. However, again, you need to be working with an architect. We've got a very good architect, down to earth, which is always fantastic. And you probably would be able to get there, like I said, 65 square meters times 2, so 130 square meters. That's not including going into the loft space with maybe a dormer at the back. You'd probably be getting 6, 7 bedrooms out of that. 7 bedrooms times 400 per calendar month. If, again, you're leasing it out to a social housing provider with completely hands off, 7, 14, 21, 2,800. The chance are you'd probably be able to find a different housing provider who would pay you more. So maybe even if you've got £500 per calendar month, 7, 14, 21, that's when the rent roll really starts to tick over, okay? So, again, always keep disciplined, always maintain your standards, and, excuse me, excuse me, it's that time of year. Always maintain your standards and stick within your framework, stick within your boundaries and obviously the rules, the expectations that you set for yourself, okay? So regardless of how many people are at the reviewing, regardless of how many, offers they may or may not have had, what the agent's saying, they've had lots of interest, it needs to be you and your standards. Does it help you achieve your goal? Does it help you get to your goal quicker? And are you going to be happy with that in your portfolio moving forward? Forget about all the external noise, okay? You just concentrate on the signal, forget about the noise. Good luck. I hope that helps a few people. I need to get to the next viewing now. Take care.